I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts, but here I am. I guess life has a way of hitting you with a truck when you least expect it. So, I'm 34, been married to my wife, Jessica, 32, for 8 years. Thought we had a solid marriage, regular date nights, inside jokes, all that. We weren't perfect, but I figured we were one of the good ones. Turns out I was dead wrong. It started small. Little things that, in hindsight, should have been huge red flags. She started being glued to her phone more than usual, laughing at messages she wouldn't show me. When I asked, she'd brush it off. Just a girls' group chat, babe, nothing exciting. She started working late a lot. Then there were the little lies, saying she was out with Sarah when Sarah had posted an Instagram story from home. But the real kicker? She stopped touching me. No kisses in the morning. No hugs from behind while I cooked. Just this growing space between us that I couldn't explain. And every time I asked if something was wrong, she gave me the same sweet little lie. You're overthinking things. I wasn't. One night, I noticed she was extra nervous, checking her phone like she was waiting for something. She told me she was going out with her friends, and I decided to trust her. Until I got a text from one of our mutual friends, David. Hey man, you good? I was confused. Why wouldn't I be? Yeah, why? I replied. I saw Jessica at club where I thought you guys weren't the clubbing type. We weren't. At all. But Jessica was there. Without me. Without telling me. That's when my stomach dropped. Something was off. I told myself not to jump to conclusions, but I couldn't shake the feeling. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I got in my car and drove there. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for. Maybe proof that I was just being paranoid. Maybe just a glimpse of her having a normal night out, so I could go home and tell myself I was crazy. What I found instead changed everything. I pulled up to Club Orion, and my gut was in knots. It's not the kind of place Jessica and I ever went to. Too loud. Too flashy. The type of place for single people looking to hook up, not married couples. I parked across the street and sat there for a second, trying to talk myself down. Maybe she really is just out with the girls. Maybe David was mistaken. But the moment I saw her stepping out onto the club's patio, my world cracked. She wasn't alone. Jessica was standing close, too close, to some tall guy in a suit. And not just any guy. Marcus Carter. Yeah, that Marcus Carter. Star wide receiver. One of the most famous athletes in the damn country. I recognized him immediately. Who wouldn't? He was the type of guy who had everything. Money, fame, a perfect life. And now, apparently, my wife. I watched as she laughed, reaching out to touch his arm like it was second nature. Then he leaned in, whispering something into her ear, and she giggled. Giggled like a schoolgirl, like she used to with me. And then, the final blow. She grabbed his tie and pulled him closer. My chest went tight. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I wanted to storm in there, grab her, demand an explanation. But what was there to explain? I was looking at the truth with my own two eyes. I took out my phone, my hand shaking, and snapped a few pictures. Proof. Not that I needed it. I could already feel the betrayal settling into my bones, but I wanted her to see what I saw when the time came. Then, as if the universe was really trying to ruin me in one night, one of our mutual friends, Tom, stepped outside. He spotted me immediately, his face dropping in shock. He walked over to my car, leaning in through the open window. Dude, what are you doing here? I didn't even look at him, just nodded toward the patio. You tell me, Tom. He followed my gaze and saw Jessica. His mouth opened, then closed. Then the worst part, he sighed, like he already knew. That's when it hit me. He did know. How long? I asked, my voice hollow. Tom hesitated. Too long. Look, man. How long? Another sigh. Then, a couple months. Maybe more. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. My own friend knew. My friends, plural, most likely, had known. And no one had told me. I wanted to get out of that car and confront her right then and there. But I also knew that if I did, I'd be making a scene in front of cameras, reporters, the whole world. And I wasn't about to let them control the narrative. No. If she wanted to betray me in public, I was going to expose her even bigger. I took a deep breath, looked at Tom, and said the last thing he probably expected. I need your help. Tom looked at me like I had lost my mind. Help? With what? I didn't answer right away. My mind was racing. I had two choices: storm in there and cause a scene, or be smart about this. And the more I thought about it, the more I knew I wanted revenge, but not just any revenge. Something big. Something that would hit her where it hurts. You knew, I said instead, my voice low. He ran a hand through his hair, looking guilty. Look, man, I didn't know how to tell you. I figured it wasn't my place. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Not your place. So it was your place to cover for her instead? He winced. It's not like that, bro. I didn't want to be in the middle of it. Too late for that. I exhaled, gripping the steering wheel. All right, here's what's going to happen. Tom blinked, caught off guard. Huh, you're going to help me expose her? I said, my voice steady now. He immediately shook his head. No, man. I can't. You can and you will. I cut in, my eyes locking onto his. Unless you want everyone knowing that you helped cover for her. How do you think that'll go over with our friends? With your girlfriend? His face paled. I had him. He swallowed hard. What do you want me to do? I glanced back at Jessica and Marcus. She was still smiling, still wrapped up in whatever little fantasy world she thought she was living in. She had no idea what was coming. I need details, I said. Everything you know. When it started. Who else knows? And most importantly, I turned back to him, voice dropping lower. I need proof. Tom hesitated, then sighed. Fine, but you didn't hear any of this from me. I gave him a tight smile. Oh, don't worry. By the time I'm done, you'll come out looking like the good guy. Lies. Because as far as I was concerned, none of them were the good guys. Back at home, I sat on the couch, staring at my phone. Tom had sent me screenshots, text messages, conversations between Jessica and their little circle of friends, jokes about her little secret, plans they made to meet up, even texts where she lied to my face about where she was, only for her to text her friends about being with Marcus minutes later. It took everything in me not to throw my phone across the room, but I didn't, because now I had everything I needed, and it was time to bring in some help. I scrolled through my contacts until I found the name I was looking for. My niece, Emily. Tech genius. Social media wizard. And most importantly, someone who hates cheaters as much as I do. I hit dial. Uncle. What's up? She answered cheerfully. I took a deep breath. I need you to help me ruin someone. There was a pause. Then, without hesitation, I'm in. Emily didn't even ask for details. She just waited for me to explain. That's the thing about her. She's young, but she's sharp. She can put two and two together fast. Is this about Aunt Jessica? She asked after a beat. I sighed. Yeah, she's cheating on me. Silence. Then a slow, dangerous hum. Tell me everything. So I did. I laid it all out, the lies, the texts, the pictures of her with Marcus Carter, and the fact that our so-called friends knew the whole time. Jesus, Emily muttered. That's wow. She really played you like that? And with that guy? Sheesh. Yeah, I said, jaw tight. That's why I need your help. What's the goal? She asked, all business now. Exposure, I said without hesitation. I want everyone to know. I want it to be public. I want to take away any chance she has of controlling the narrative. Emily exhaled through her nose, and I could almost hear her smirking through the phone. I can work with that. The next day, Emily came over. She had her laptop, her phone, and a look of pure mischief in her eyes. All right, here's what we're going to do, she said, setting up at my kitchen table. She started laying out a plan, one that was so simple yet so devastating that I almost felt bad. Almost. First, we needed timing. I couldn't just drop this bomb randomly. It had to hit at the right moment. Maximum impact. Luckily, Jessica and Marcus were making it easy for me. Emily pulled up Jessica's Instagram. She's been posting hints about some special event this weekend, Emily said, scrolling. Something about a big night out. I frowned. What kind of event? Emily smirked. Oh, you're gonna love this. It's an awards gala. Marcus is getting some Humanitarian of the Year award. And guess who's gonna be on his arm? I stared at her. You've got to be kidding me. Nope. Jessica wasn't just cheating. She was flaunting it. Showing up as his date to some fancy event, probably thinking she could just explain it away as a work thing if I ever asked. That's when I knew. That night, that was going to be the moment. That's when I would drop everything. All right, I said, leaning forward. Let's burn this whole thing down. The plan was simple but brutal. Jessica and Marcus were going to that fancy gala, probably expecting flashing cameras and VIP treatment. But instead, they were about to walk into a public execution. Socially speaking, of course. Emily got to work, and watching her do her thing was like watching a hacker in a movie. She wasn't just good, she was scary good. All right, here's what we've got, she said, fingers flying across her keyboard. Step 1. We compile all the evidence, texts, photos, timestamps, everything. Step 2. We create a timed post that'll drop right when the gala is in full swing. Step 3. We sit back and watch the fireworks. A timed post? I asked. Emily grinned. Yeah, we'll schedule it. That way, even if someone tips them off, it's too late. The second it goes live, everyone will see it. This wasn't just some messy breakup rant. We were building something undeniable, a public case against her. And to make sure no one could ignore it, we were using her own followers against her. Emily pulled up Jessica's social media. She's got, 12K followers? A bunch of mutual friends? That's enough to make this go viral. She started drafting the post under a burner account, making sure every piece of evidence was laid out clearly. No vague accusations. No emotional outbursts. Just cold, hard facts. Screenshots of her messages with Marcus. Texts where she lied to me. Photos of her sneaking around. Even group chat messages from our so-called friends, laughing behind my back. Everything. The caption. Simple. Brutal. When your wife of 8 years cheats on you with an NFL player and all your friends, help her cover it up. Hope it was worth it, Jessica. And then, the final touch, tagging Marcus Carter himself. Let the world see what kind of role model he really was. By the time we were done, my heart was pounding. You sure about this? Emily asked, cracking her knuckles. I looked at the screen, at the evidence of my wife's betrayal laid out in black and white. I thought about how she lied to my face, how she let her friends laugh at me, how she was probably going to walk into that gala with zero guilt, thinking she got away with it. Post it, I said. Emily clicked the button. It was scheduled. In less than 6 hours, the world would know exactly who she was. And there was no stopping it. Once the post was scheduled, there was no turning back. Emily leaned back in her chair, stretching her arms. All right, Uncle. Now we wait. Wait. That should have been the easy part, but it wasn't, because every passing minute made my thoughts spiral. Was this the right move? Would Jessica try to twist the story? Would Marcus Carter's PR team try to bury it? Would my so-called friends suddenly rush to her defense, acting like I was the bad guy for exposing her? I could feel the anger bubbling up again, but Emily must have sensed it because she spoke up. You're doing the right thing, you know. I exhaled, rubbing my temples. Doesn't feel like it. She snorted. Dude, she cheated on you. Lied to your face. Had her little group cover for her. And now she's out in public, acting like she's some kind of trophy girlfriend. You're not ruining her life. She did that herself. You're just making sure she doesn't get to rewrite the story. That was the thing. Jessica wasn't just cheating. She was playing a role, acting like some glamorous partner to a famous athlete while keeping me as a backup plan. And I refused to let her get away with it. 5 hours left. I spent the next couple of hours pacing around my apartment. My phone buzzed with notifications, friends making weekend plans, work emails, my mom checking in. Jessica. Nothing. She probably thought I was at home, clueless. Probably assumed she'd come back later, kiss me on the cheek, and tell me some fake story about her work event. I wanted to laugh. Instead, I pulled up my text messages with her and took one last look at them. I could see our old messages, inside jokes, pictures of trips we'd taken, dumb arguments about what to eat for dinner. And then, right at the top, her last text from this morning. Love you. I'll be home late. Don't wait up, red heart. Yeah, right. 3 hours left. Emily ordered pizza. I wasn't hungry, but she shoved a slice into my hand anyway. You need to eat. No passing out before the big event. I forced myself to chew. Then my phone buzzed again, but this time, it wasn't a random notification. It was Tom. Tom. Hey man, everything okay? I frowned. He was acting like he hadn't just helped me set this up. Me, why? Tom. Jessica just texted me. She said she has a bad feeling. Like something's off. I blinked. She knows. 2 hours left. I stood up, heart pounding. She's onto something. Emily raised an eyebrow. How? I showed her the text from Tom. She tilted her head. Weird. We haven't posted anything yet. Maybe she's just paranoid. Maybe. Or maybe someone tipped her off. My mind raced. Had Tom warned her? Had one of our other so-called friends seen something? I didn't know. But what I did know was that Jessica wasn't stupid. If she had even the slightest suspicion that something was wrong, she'd start doing damage control. We need to be ready, I muttered. Emily smirked. Oh, don't worry. I've got backups on backups. She pulled up another account, an anonymous one with 0 connections to us. Even if she somehow finds a post and reports it before it spreads, I have 3 more waiting in line to post the same thing. I stared at her. When did you even set that up? She shrugged. While we were waiting. Gotta be 10 steps ahead. Smart kid. 1 hour left. The gala had started. Jessica had posted an Instagram story, a video of her and Marcus, all smiles, clinking glasses of champagne. The caption, celebrating greatness tonight, sparkles, so proud of you, babe. Babe. I almost threw my phone. Instead, I took a deep breath and waited. Because in less than an hour, that fake little fairy tale, it was about to come crashing down. I sat there, phone in hand, counting the minutes. The gala was in full swing. Jessica and Marcus were probably sipping champagne, posing for cameras, thinking they were on top of the world. They had no idea that the ground was about to be ripped out from under them. Emily glanced at the clock. 10 minutes. I exhaled slowly. My hands weren't shaking anymore. The anger, the humiliation, the betrayal, all of it had settled into something colder, something calculated. I wasn't the guy getting played anymore. I was the guy calling the shots. 5 minutes left. Jessica hadn't texted me all night. Good. That meant she was still clueless. Emily refreshed the event's livestream, where Marcus was about to take the stage. Perfect timing, she muttered. I smirked. Lights, camera, destruction. 0 hour. Emily gave me a nod. I grabbed my phone and opened the burner account. The post was already scheduled, but there was something satisfying about pressing the button myself. So I did. Post published. For a moment, nothing happened. Then my phone exploded. Notifications. Comments. Shares. Messages. Emily's eyes widened as the post spread like wildfire. Oh my God, Uncle. It's blowing up. I refreshed the page. In minutes, it already had thousands of views. People were tagging Jessica, Marcus, even major sports accounts. And then, the first big hit landed. A celebrity gossip page shared it. Breaking. Marcus Carter caught in a cheating scandal? Wife of 8 years exposes her husband's affair with NFL star. Receipts attached. I laughed. Not wife. Husband. The media didn't even care about the facts. They just wanted the drama. And now, Jessica was trending. Damage control mode. Jessica's Instagram went private within minutes. Marcus's PR team was scrambling. I switched over to the gala's livestream, just in time to see Jessica's phone light up mid-speech. She glanced at the screen. And then, her face drained of color. Jessica's reaction was instant. 1 second, she was smiling, sipping champagne, playing the perfect girlfriend. The next, pure panic. She looked down at her phone, eyes scanning the screen, and I knew exactly what she was seeing. The post, the comments, the DMs flooding in. Marcus was mid-speech, thanking the crowd for his award, talking about integrity and being a role model. The irony almost made me choke on my drink. Jessica wasn't even listening. She leaned toward one of her friends, phone in hand, whispering frantically. The camera caught her shaking her head, mouthing no, no, no. Then she got up, right in the middle of Marcus's speech. Meltdown mode. Emily and I watched as Jessica walked away from the table, heading toward the exit. She's running, Emily muttered, smirking. She's about to call me, I said. And right on cue, my phone rang. Jessica's name flashed across the screen. Emily grinned. Oh, are you going to answer? I let it ring. She called again. I let it ring again. Then a text. Jessica, where are you? Call me now. Yeah. No thanks. Marcus gets the news. Back at the gala, Marcus had just finished his speech, and someone must have shoved their phone in his face because his expression shifted hard. At first, he looked confused, then annoyed, then furious. He turned to one of his teammates sitting nearby, showed him the screen, and the guy straight up started laughing. Marcus gritted his teeth, muttered something, and then stormed off stage. I could only imagine the conversation that was about to happen between him and Jessica. The internet goes crazy. By now, the post was viral. The comment section was brutal. OMG, she cheated on her husband for a dude who sleeps around? LMAO karma's coming. The fact that she was going to gaslight him for years if this never got exposed? Marcus Carter? Again? This man is the biggest walking red flag. Nah. The friends knowing and covering for her is actually sick. Bro turned his heartbreak into the most legendary revenge drop of all time. Even verified accounts were chiming in, some laughing, some roasting Jessica. A few PR teams were already spinning the story, but the damage was done. Jessica wasn't just caught, she was infamous now. One last call. My phone rang again. But this time, it wasn't Jessica. It was Tom. I answered. You saw it. I could hear the stress in his voice. Dude, Jessica is losing it. She's blowing up everyone's phones. She's saying you need to fix this before it gets worse. I laughed. Fix it? She wanted me to fix her mess? Nah, she could drown in it. Tell her she can fix it herself, I said. Oh wait, she can't. And then, I hung up. It didn't take long before Jessica showed up at my door. Not just calling. Not just texting. Physically. Right there. It was almost midnight when I heard the knocking. Loud. Desperate. Emily raised an eyebrow. Think she's here to apologize? I scoffed. Think she's here to save herself. I walked to the door and took a deep breath. This was it. I swung it open. And there she was. The face of regret. Jessica looked like a wreck. Her makeup was smudged. Her hair was a mess. And for the first time in years, she wasn't wearing that fake, confident smile she always put on when she wanted something. Her eyes were wide, frantic, like a trapped animal. Oh my God, you're home, she gasped, like she had just run a marathon. I crossed my arms. Obviously. She let out a shaky breath. We need to talk. Please. Can I come in? I leaned against the doorframe, not moving an inch. Talk about what? She swallowed hard. You know what? I do, I said, but I want to hear you say it. Jessica tries to spin it. She ran a hand through her hair, clearly trying to gather herself. Look, I know what it looks like, but... I let out a sharp laugh. You know what it looks like? Jessica, it is what it looks like. You cheated. You lied. And now, you're just mad you got caught. She flinched like I had slapped her. She exhaled, shaking her head. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I stared at her. Was that supposed to mean something? Oh, well, that makes it okay then, I said dryly. She took a step closer, desperate now. I was confused, okay? It wasn't serious. It was just a mistake. A mistake. 8 months of sneaking around, lying to my face, letting our friends cover for her. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Over and over again. Her excuses keep coming. It was never about you, she insisted. It just happened. I got caught up in it, and I didn't know how to stop. Emily, who had been quietly listening from the couch, snorted. So what? Marcus accidentally fell into you. For 8 months. Jessica's head snapped toward her, only now realizing Emily was here. Are you serious? she snapped. You let her be part of this. Emily just smirked. Oh, honey, I didn't just watch. I helped. Jessica's mouth opened, then closed. She turned back to me, voice dropping into pathetic begging mode. Please, you can be mad at me, hate me, but don't do this. We can fix it. Fix it. There it was. The real reason she was here. She didn't care about me. She cared about damage control. I give her the truth. Jessica, I said calmly, this isn't something you fix. You did this. You chose this. Now you get to live with it. Her eyes filled with tears. Fake ones. You don't have to destroy me over this, she whispered. Please. I made a mistake, but I don't deserve this. I just shook my head. Neither did I. And then, I shut the door in her face. I didn't watch Jessica leave. I didn't need to. The second the door clicked shut, I just stood there, staring at it, feeling nothing. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Not relief. Just empty. Emily, still lounging on my couch, let out a low whistle. Phew. That was brutal. I exhaled, rubbing my temples. You think she got the message? Emily snorted. Oh, she got the message. But she's not done. Not by a long shot. And she was right. Because Jessica, she wasn't the type to go down quietly. The friends start picking sides. The first text came an hour later. Not from Jessica. From Sarah, one of her friends. Sarah. Hey, just wanted to say I saw the post. I had no idea it was this bad. I feel awful. If you want to talk, I'm here. I scoffed. Had no idea? Yeah, sure. Then another text. Chris, dude. Jessica is freaking out. She's saying you ruined her life. What the hell happened? Another. Tom, bro. This is getting messy. People are taking sides. Some are saying you went too far. Too far. She lied to me for months, paraded around with another man, and let our friends laugh behind my back. But I was the bad guy for exposing it? I ignored them all. Let them squirm. Jessica finally breaks. Around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was her. Jessica, please talk to me. Please. You've made your point. Can we just fix this? Fix. That word again. I stared at the message. She wasn't apologizing. She wasn't even acknowledging what she did. She just wanted the consequences to go away. So I gave her one last reply. Me. There is no we anymore, Jessica. You made sure of that. And then, I blocked her. The last nail in the coffin. By morning, the story had spread everywhere. Sports blogs, celebrity gossip sites, even mainstream news outlets picked it up. Not just about Marcus, but about Jessica too. The headlines. Brutal. NFL star caught in scandal. Married woman exposes affair. Cheating wife goes viral. Social media reacts. Marcus Carter's perfect image shattered. Marcus's PR team was desperately trying to spin it, but the damage was done. Jessica had officially become the villain of the internet. And me, I was the guy who got cheated on, but walked away with his dignity intact. The morning after the post went viral, I woke up to pure chaos. My phone was still blowing up. Texts, calls, DMs. People I hadn't spoken to in years were suddenly reaching out. But the best part? Jessica's entire world was crumbling in real time. Jessica's social media goes up in flames. Emily was already awake, sitting on my couch with her laptop. Oh, you're gonna love this, she said, turning the screen toward me. Jessica's Instagram comments were a war zone. Not you playing doting wife while sneaking around with an athlete LMAO. Imagine throwing away 8 years for a dude who won't even remember your name in a month. Girl thought she was upgrading and just ruined her whole reputation. She tried turning off comments, but that only made people flood her other accounts. Her Facebook? Same thing. Her Twitter? Even worse. She posted a weak attempt at an explanation. There are 2 sides to every story. Please respect my privacy during this difficult time. Emily snorted. Wow. Difficult time for who? Because you seem to be doing just fine. I just shook my head. Jessica wasn't sorry. She was just mad she got caught. Marcus Carter finally responds. Around noon, Marcus finally broke his silence. He posted one of those generic PR statements, talking about how private matters should remain private, and how misinformation spreads fast. Translation? He was panicking. His team even tried making Jessica look like the villain, like she was some random woman obsessed with him, like she misled him about her marriage. But no one was buying it. One of his teammates even commented, "Bro, we all knew she was married. Don't even try it." Marcus didn't reply. Jessica tries one last time. That evening, as I was finally starting to relax, my phone buzzed. Blocked number. I already knew. I sighed and answered. "What, Jessica?" Her voice was a mess, shaky, exhausted. "I lost my job." I blinked. "What?" "My boss saw the post. They said this kind of publicity is bad for the company image. I'm on unpaid leave, probably fired." I didn't say anything. I just let her sit in the consequences of her own actions. "And Marcus isn't even answering my calls anymore," she added, voice breaking. Of course, he wasn't. She thought she was so special, that Marcus would fight for her, protect her. But to him, she was just another scandal, a disposable mistake. Finally, she whispered, "I screwed up, didn't I?" I exhaled, shaking my head. "Jessica, you didn't just screw up. You destroyed everything. And now, you get to live with it." And then, I hung up. Jessica didn't call back after that. Maybe she finally understood. Or maybe she was too busy scrambling to fix her life. Either way, I didn't care. Because for the first time in months, I finally felt free. Marcus gets dropped. A few days later, Marcus Carter's team made a move. They couldn't ignore the scandal anymore, so they released a new statement. Marcus deeply regrets any pain caused by recent events. He remains committed to being a positive role model and will be taking time to reflect. Blah, blah, blah. But the real kicker? His sponsorship deal with a major brand got pulled. One of the biggest sports brands in the world cut ties with him over the drama. Emily grinned when she saw the article. Your revenge is literally costing him millions. Good. Jessica tries to get sympathy. A week later, Jessica finally made her move. She went on some second-rate podcast, probably hoping to spin the story in her favor. I only watched because Emily pulled it up and shoved her laptop in my face. Jessica looked awful, drained, exhausted, completely different from the woman who used to walk around like she was untouchable. "I made a mistake," she said, voice trembling. "I wasn't thinking clearly. I was lost, and I just want people to understand that I'm not a bad person." Emily gagged. "Oh, please. Cue the crocodile tears." Jessica went on about how the internet was being so cruel to her, how she had lost everything, how she was struggling. Not once did she apologize to me. Not once did she take full responsibility. It was all about how hard this was for her. I shook my head. She still didn't get it. Mutual friends start crawling back. After the dust settled, the rats started crawling out of the woodwork. People who had known about the affair, who had laughed behind my back, suddenly wanted to talk. Tom sent a text first. "Tom, hey man, I just want to check in. Maybe we can grab a beer sometime. Clear the air." Clear the air? I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Me? Nah, I'm good. Then I blocked his number. Sarah was next. "Sarah, I just want to say I never meant to hurt you. I wasn't trying to take sides." Me? You did take sides. You just didn't pick mine. Then I blocked her too. I wasn't interested in fake apologies. If they didn't care when Jessica was screwing me over, then I don't care now. Moving on. It took a while, but eventually, the chaos died down. Marcus moved on to the next scandal. Jessica disappeared from social media. And me? I started rebuilding. I moved out of the apartment we shared. Found a place of my own. Started hitting the gym again. Focused on myself. And honestly, I felt better than I had in years. No more lies. No more second-guessing. Just freedom. A few months passed, and for the first time in a long time, I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't obsessing over Jessica. I wasn't replaying the betrayal in my head. I wasn't wondering why she did it or what I could have done differently. Because the truth was simple. She made her choice. And I made mine. And now, I was finally living my life on my terms. Jessica's last desperate attempt. One night, I was out grabbing drinks with some coworkers when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I already knew. I hesitated for a second, then answered. Hello. Silence. Then a deep breath. Hey, it's me. Jessica. I closed my eyes and sighed. What do you want? I don't know. I just wanted to hear your voice. I nearly laughed. Why? She hesitated. I miss you. I shook my head. No, you don't. You miss what I did for you. You miss having me as a safety net. You don't actually miss me. More silence. Then her voice cracked. I don't know who I am without you. That's when I realized something. Jessica had built her entire life around the idea that she could do whatever she wanted and always have someone waiting to clean up the mess. She wasn't just upset about losing me. She was upset because, for the first time, there were real consequences. I exhaled. That's not my problem anymore, Jessica. And then, I hung up. For the last time. A fresh start. That call was the final nail in the coffin. After that, I stopped looking back. I started focusing on my own happiness, traveling, hitting the gym, picking up new hobbies. And one day, while out grabbing coffee, I met someone new. She wasn't like Jessica. No games. No lies. Just real, honest conversation. And for the first time, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Meeting someone new wasn't something I planned. I wasn't looking for a relationship. I wasn't trying to replace Jessica. But somehow, life had a way of putting the right people in your path at the right time. Her name was Rachel. We met at a coffee shop. One of those random moments where two strangers end up laughing about the same thing. In this case, a guy loudly arguing with a barista about oat milk. It started as small talk. Then, longer conversations. Then, nights spent texting until 2 a.m. She didn't know my story at first. But when she finally asked about my past, I told her everything. She didn't pity me. She didn't say, "Wow, you deserve better." She just nodded and said, "Yeah, that was really messed up. But I liked that you didn't let it ruin you." And somehow, that meant more than anything. Jessica becomes just another memory. One day, months later, Emily texted me. Emily, guess who I just ran into? I didn't even need to guess. Me, Jessica. Emily, yup. And wow, she looks rough. Apparently, Jessica had lost a lot. Her job, most of her friends, and whatever fake fantasy she had built with Marcus Carter. She wasn't homeless or anything, but she wasn't thriving either. And for the first time, instead of feeling anger or satisfaction, I just didn't care. Jessica wasn't some great tragedy in my life anymore. She was just a lesson I had already learned. The best revenge. One night, Rachel and I were out for dinner when she smiled at me and said, "You seem happy." And I realized I was. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't waiting for karma to strike. I had already won. Because the best revenge was living a better life. And that's exactly what I was doing. It took me a long time to get here. Through the betrayal, the anger, the need for revenge. But now, I wasn't just moving on. I was already gone. Jessica becomes a ghost. One day, while scrolling through my phone, I realized something weird. I hadn't thought about Jessica in weeks. Not in a bitter way. Not in a what-if way. She just wasn't part of my life anymore. And that was real closure. Life goes on. Rachel and I kept growing closer. Emily started her own business, because of course she did. She's a genius. And me, I was just living. No more lies. No more second-guessing. No more wasted energy on people who didn't deserve it. For the first time in years, I was truly happy. Not because I got revenge. Not because Jessica suffered. But because I finally chose myself. Final thoughts. If you're reading this and you've ever been betrayed, let me tell you something. You will heal. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But one day, you'll wake up and realize the past doesn't own you anymore. And when that day comes, you win. Because the best revenge is never needing revenge at all.